Imagine that you're a home buyer scrolling online, looking at houses that are for sale, looking through the pictures, trying to decide which house you want to see in person. And then these are the pictures of the inside of the house. Do these pictures make you say, yes, that is my dream house. That's the house that I want to pay top dollar for? Probably not. Today, I'm going to share with you 6 tips to get your house ready for sale. When you're getting your house ready to sell, your goal is to get potential buyers to fall in love with your house. You want them to imagine themselves raising their kids there, hosting holidays with their family at the house. The more they bond with your house and fall in love with it, the more they are committed to the sale of the house, the more badly they want it, and the more they're willing to pay top dollar for your house. Okay, so let's get into the tips. And make sure you watch till the end because I'm going to give you my absolute number 1 tip. Okay, let's start off with tip number 6 and we'll count down. So tip number 6 is smell. The smell of your house, these are candles, is so incredibly important. And everyone's house has a smell. Buyers are going to have an emotional reaction to your house as soon as they walk into it. They're going to smell something. That smell is going to invoke some type of thought or memory, good or bad, and you want to make sure it's a good one. Now, everyone's house has a smell, whether it's the cleaning products you use, your laundry detergent, the food that you've cooked. Everyone's house has a smell, and we often become desensitized to it because we smell it all the time and we live with it. But if a potential buyer walks into your house and they think that your house smells funky, they're going to remember it, and it's not going to be in a good way. My tip for smell is to open the doors and windows and air out your house. Depending on the time of year, if it's the middle of winter, it might be a little hard to air out your house. Light a candle. If you light candles, make sure that it's citrus or vanilla, kind of like a neutral scent. Please do not use air fresheners, especially in the basement. Air fresheners are very powerful and overwhelming, and I have so many buyers that it hits them and not in a good way. And if you put air fresheners in the basement, people will think that you're trying to cover up like a moisture or mildew smell down there. Also, we love our pets, but they come with their own share of odors. Make sure you clean their bedding and hide their litter boxes. As far as smell goes, it's a good idea to ask a trusted friend. Since they don't live in your house, they'll be able to smell any potential odors, and they'll give you an honest opinion. Tip number 5 is to depersonalize your house. I know this is hard to hear, but when you're selling your house, you want to get rid of any personal items because when you're selling your house, it's no longer your home. It needs to be a blank slate that will appeal to multiple buyers. And that can only happen if buyers come in and they can picture their own belongings and their own family pictures and their own items in the house. So remove all of your family items such as pictures, your kids' soccer or hockey trophies, any family heirlooms, anything personal, and anything that makes a buyer start to know you or understand who you are, who your family is. Any of those type of items, remove from your house. As you're walking through your house, if you see any item that lets potential buyers get to know who you are, remove it. Literally, I cannot count the number of times where I'm showing a house and the buyers are walking through the house and they just stop and they're staring at the pictures of the family on the wall or of the kids or of the trophies because they're trying to figure out who these people are. They're trying to figure out if they know them at all. Tip number 4 is to clean. Yes, you would think that cleaning your house before selling it is common sense, but you would be shocked and surprised to know how many sellers don't do this. Also, make sure you look high and low in your house and you clean commonly missed areas. So clean all your light fixtures and your ceiling fans. The top of the ceiling fan blade tends to get really dusty and people overlook that. Also make sure that you clean your baseboards. So looking high at your ceiling fans, look low at your baseboards, and clean your walls. Like I have a 1-year-old, so I'm always finding random food splattered on the walls in crazy places. So look everywhere. Look at all of your commonly missed areas. Also, clean your windows inside and outside. You would be shocked to realize how much pollen, rain, dirt, and dust sits on the windows and really impacts how much light comes through. Okay, so for tip number 3, I have a jar of paint because you want neutral colors. Although your 10-year-old son probably loves his lime green bedroom, bold colors like that don't appeal to everyone. And you would be surprised by how many buyers look at houses and they can't look beyond something as simple as changing the paint color. Especially in their mind too, if there are several rooms with paint colors that don't appeal to them, and then there's carpet that they don't care for, and then there's an outdated bathroom that needs to be updated. In their mind, all of these things just pile up and they start to think that the house is too much, needs too much work and too many updates, and they can't take it on. Even though, granted, carpet and paint is very simple. So a neutral coat of paint does wonders. It's a very inexpensive fix. It brightens up the walls, make it a neutral color, like I said, a gray or a tan, depending on the color scheme of your house. And the neutral color scheme applies not just to the walls, but all areas of your house. So here's a look at a duvet cover that one of my sellers had on her bed in her master bedroom. It was a mustard yellow color that she loved, but I simply swapped it out for a neutral color. It was a comforter that I had in my storage locker, but it made a big difference in the pictures. Tip number 2 is curb appeal. And I realized that showing you a picture of a half dead plant isn't an accurate description of curb appeal, but I didn't want to drag a bag of mulch into my kitchen. So the plant has to do. So the reason why curb appeal is important is because the online pictures are the most important. Like I said in the beginning, someone's going to be scrolling through the pictures of your house. The pictures are what's going to stop the scroll, have them make an appointment to come and see your house. But then their second impression of your house is when they pull up to the front of it and they look outside, the curb appeal. I always tell my sellers, spread a thin layer of mulch outside the front of your house in the flower beds because it's not that expensive, and that brown mulch color really makes the pictures pop. And that's a tongue twister. It makes the pictures pop and really makes the house look nice. Also, plant some flowers, put down a new doormat, sweep the front porch, hang a bright wreath. That really makes the pictures pop and the house looks nice. Okay, so before I go on to my final and most important tip, I want to mention that I have a guide that I made and I share with all of my sellers, but it's a guide about preparing your house for sale. This video is pretty high level, but in this guide, I go through every area of your home, living room, dining room, bedrooms, kitchen, and I give you step by step of exactly what to do in order to prepare your house for sale. So if you want a copy of this, I'm putting the link below. Just put in your email address and I'll send it right to you. Okay, now for my final and most important tip of what you must do when you're selling your house. Declutter. I had to scrounge throughout my house to find these items because I have very few little knickknacks like this because I don't like them. But my point is that you must declutter. The majority of people have far too many things in their house. So what's important when you're listing your house for sale is you want to remove a large portion of the items. Because again, this goes back to tip number 1 kind of with depersonalizing, but you want to remove not only your family heirlooms, your personal pictures and personal items, but also just unnecessary clutter that you have lying around. The reason why you want to declutter is because you want people to look at your house and not your things, because your things will not stay with the house. And as I mentioned before, you want people to imagine their own belongings in their house, their own furniture, their own clothing, their own knickknacks. But if you have too much of your own stuff there, they get mentally overloaded and they can't picture themselves living in your house. Plus, you're moving. You're going to have to pack up your stuff anyway, so why not start now? Something else that I tell my sellers with this step is when you're removing items from your house, don't just shove everything in a closet or down in the basement. If you shove everything in your closet, buyers will open your closets. And they're not being nosy, they are just curious to see how much storage you have. And so if you have your closets jam-packed full of winter coats, boots, shoes, whatever, it gives buyers the impression that you don't have enough storage. You want to remove items from your closet to create the illusion that you have more space. So here's a picture of one of my seller's closets. This is what she did in order to prepare her house for sale. As you can see, it's very pared down. There are not a lot of belongings in it. Everything is folded perfectly nice and neat and organized. And it looks like she takes really good care of her items and thus makes people think that she's taking really good care of her home as well. So you want to clear off flat surfaces. We all have piles of mail or paperwork that we let pile up. And yes, this is mine. I keep it somewhere in my kitchen in the corner. And then when guests come over, I shove it in the drawer. Yes, I know I need to deal with it. But don't put this stuff out, hide it. So remove items from countertops, remove your toiletries. No one needs to know what type of toiletry brands you use. I mean, this is my kitchen. I'm purposely filming this in my kitchen to show you that look, I have dueling coffee pots. My husband and I each have one. Like, this is too much stuff. Over here in the corner, you can't see it, but I have paper towels. Like, that does not need to be on my kitchen counter if I was selling my house. No one needs two coffee pots. So have a minimal amount of stuff in your kitchen. When it comes to decluttering, I had mentioned don't just declutter and shove everything in your closet because buyers will look there. Also, don't declutter and just shove everything in your basement or in your garage because buyers will go down there. And especially don't shove everything up against the walls because that prevents buyers from seeing the foundation of the walls. And they just want to make sure that the foundation is good, like the walls aren't bowing, there's no moisture, no cracks, that type of thing. So if you do start to pack and put things in your basement, put it neatly and don't shove it up against the wall. You could also consider renting a storage locker for a few months or seeing if there's a relative who will let you store some items in their house for a little while. Again, don't forget to click the link below and get my guide for how to get your house ready for sale. And I'll see you next time.